Okay, so we're back and we are in the Springboard book and we're looking at page 13, and this lesson is the logical reasoning, 2.1 inductive reasoning. And so this gives a little bit of beginning information here about inductive reasoning and talks a little bit about conjectures. And the first problem is a logic problem. So you probably did these quite a bit in middle school. When we do a logic problem, we usually make a matrix. So I created a matrix here. This is about students who went to a party and then got sick on the food, which is kind of odd, but that's what it's about. So the food choices they had were hamburger, pasta salad, coleslaw, and then whether they got sick or not. And then the students were JT, Guy, Dean, Judy, and Cheryl. So we just made a little matrix with the food and whether they got sick across the top and the names of the people down the side. So then we just took each sentence of the problem one at a time and marked in our check chart in the logic chart. So it says JT had a hamburger, pasta salad, and coleslaw, and she got ill. So I marked JT for all three foods and the fact that she got sick. And then Guy ate potato salad and coleslaw and got ill. So I marked Guy for these two foods and then also that got ill. He got ill. And then Dean only had a hamburger and didn't get ill. So you see I didn't make a check mark there. So we probably know right here that, boy, this hamburger is not what's making people ill, right? Because all he ate was a hamburger and he didn't get ill. And of course, Judy, she didn't eat anything at all. So she didn't get sick. So she doesn't really add any information to us. So we still don't know if it's the pasta salad or the coleslaw. So we need Cheryl to help us figure that out. So Cheryl had the hamburger and the pasta salad. So it depends on whether she got ill or not, which one it was. And she did get ill, so the pasta salad is the culprit. So we know because of Cheryl that the pasta salad is the one that made people sick. So then we're going to write over here on the problem that according to our matrix, the pasta salad is what made them sick. Okay, so finish up your matrix up here in the corner and then write your sentence according to our matrix, the pasta salad made them sick. Okay, so we'll do that right there. Then the rest of this page is about figuring out the patterns of sequences. And you can tell from these sequences, they gave you way more than 3 terms to try to narrow down the possibilities that you might come up with in your conjectures, to try to make it hopefully to be 1 or maybe 2 possibilities and not that many possibilities. So that's why they gave you so many terms. So take a few minutes and go through these sequences and see what you can come up with your conjectures about the next terms, and be sure you explain how you got those patterns. And then come on back to the video and we'll go through these. All right, so let's look at these sequences. So the first one, you can see every other one is a letter, and it goes A, C, E, G, something. So if it was all the letters of the alphabet, it would A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. This has to be I because it's every other letter. And then these are counting by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16. So this one has to be 20. You could even say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. That one has to be 20. So they're multiples of 4. Or you could have written every other multiple of 2. That would also work. All right, let's look at the next one. So on the next one, you had 3 options of explaining. These are multiplied by 3. So 3, 9, 27, 81, 243. So 243 times 3 is 729. And 729 times 3 is 2,187. So you could either write each term is the previous term multiplied by 3, or you could write that these are the powers of 3. So 3 to the first, 3 to the second, 3 to the third, and so on. So either one of those is completely fine. Those will both work. All right. So for the third one, this is an adding one, and it's just like the one we did in our notebook. So 3 plus 5 is 8, and 8 plus 7 is 15, and 15 plus 9 is 24, and 24 plus 11 is 35. So as you can see, each term is adding 2 more, starting with plus 5. So each time 2 more are added. So when we get to 48, it's time to add 13 to get to 48. So then this next one will be plus 15. So 48 plus 15 is 63. And then 63 plus 17 is 80. So that's how that works. Every time is adding 2 more. And then here on letter D, you might have recognized this as a pretty common sequence. This has a name. It's actually called the Fibonacci sequence. Oops, 2 C's and an I. This is the Fibonacci sequence where each term is the sum of the 2 terms in front of it. So 1 plus 1 is 2, and 1 plus 2 is 3, and 2 plus 3 is 5, and 3 plus 5 is 8, 5 plus 8 is 13. 8 plus 13 gives you 21, and 13 and 21 make 34. And this sequence is really common in nature. It happens a lot in spirals and in different parts of nature. So each term is the sum of the previous 2 terms. That's how that works. So that's all of page 13, and when you're done with those, we're ready to move on. And we're going to go ahead and skip over to page 15 and look at this box right here. So in the check your understanding box, number 5 says, the pattern shows the first 3 figures. Mario conjectures that the 4th figure will be the 3rd figure rotated 90 degrees. So what we're asking is, if this one, if we rotate it 90, do we get that one? And then if we rotate it 90, do we get that one? And then if we rotate this one 90, is that what the next figure is going to look like? And the answer is yes, it will. It'll look just like this rotated 90 degrees because each figure is rotating 90 degrees clockwise. So it'll just keep rotating 90 degrees clockwise. And then number 6, Anya is training for a 10K race, and the table shows the distance she runs during the first 3 weeks. So she goes half a mile, and then a mile, and then 2 miles. So she's doubling how far she's going every week. So we could say in the 4th week she might go 4 miles, but we don't really know she's going to go 4 miles. To test that conjecture, we'd have to measure in some way her 4th week because we don't know for sure she's going to go 4 miles. That's just a conjecture we could have. So once you're done with the check for understanding box, the rest of the lesson, all the rest of the lesson is one problem. So we're going to work on this other problem. It's kind of on 3 different pages. It's 14, 15, and 16 all together. So we're going to back up to page 14 and start with problem number 3. And we're going to look at this problem. Now I already did it on the previous taping, so I'm going to have to kind of show you as we're going along. So it says If we have 2 points on a circle, we're going to take those 2 points and we're going to draw a line between them, and then we're going to number the regions that we have. So 2 points, we get 1 chord, and we have 2 sections. So that's where that 2 right there comes from. Now if we have 3 points, we draw the segments that you can draw between those 3 points, and then we number the regions, and with 3 points we have 4 segments. Now you're going to have to stop the video to do this, to get all these drawn, because it's going to take you some time. With 4 points, you draw all the segments that you can draw, and you'll end up with 8 regions. And just number them in order. Try to go in some kind of reasonable order so you get them all. So 4 is 8. And then for 5, it kind of looks like a star. So make sure you get all the pieces. And then number in some kind of a order where you can keep track. And so for 5 points, there are 16 pieces. So then question letter A here says, describe in words what it looks like. So it looks like we're multiplying by 2. 2, 4, 8, 16. It looks like that first pattern that we did. So if we predict what 6 points are going to look like, we would conjecture that for 6, the next one in the pattern, we would conjecture that there would be 32 regions with 6 dots. So go ahead and stop the video and take the time you need to complete this page. So now it tells us to go to page 16 and actually do that. So on page 16, it asks us to go ahead and connect all the dots and count the regions. So we're going to go ahead and connect up all those dots, make that 6-pointed star and all those connected pieces. And we end up being really surprised, no matter how many times you count it, that we're only going to get 31 regions. So however many times that we try, we'll only have 31 regions. So take the time you need to get that 6-pointed star done on page 16. Oops. Okay. The last problem is on page 15. I'm not sure why these are all mixed up, but for some reason they are. So it says, this is where it's told us to draw the points on page 7. What is the on the next page? What is the number of non-overlapping regions? It was 31. Is this the number that we predicted? No. Describe what you would do to further investigate the pattern formed by the chords. So what would we do? Well, what we could do is we could try a circle with 7 dots, right? That would be our next step, to try the next circle, right? That would be our next step. So once you get this far, you're actually done with lesson 2. There's not a lesson 2.1 practice that you need to do today. we do want to go back to the notebook and fill in this part right here. And this is the circle with dots. And it was 2, 4, 8, 16, 31, and we don't know what we would have gotten with 7 dots. You might explore that if you'd like to. So this actually concludes all the parts of the lesson except the circle doodle note, and you'll need to get that paper from the substitute. And you should have plenty of time left in class to do the circle doodle note, and be sure you turn that in before the end of the period. And I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and we'll work on deductive reasoning tomorrow. So thank you and have a great day. Bye.